Coming up on AFN Europe Report. First, we'll take a look at airborne training with the Army in the Balkans. Then, head down to Italy, where the Navy is practicing emergency response. And we'll also show you what the Air Force is doing to get their jets on the ground and back in the air quickly over the skies of the UK.
Good evening, and welcome to your AFN Europe Report. I'm Sergeant Tiffany Collins. Operation Atlantic Resolve confirms America's continued commitment to the collective security of NATO. It also helps ensure peace and stability in Europe, one exercise at a time. When soldiers from different nations train alongside each other, they get the chance to build the bonds needed to work together during crises. And nothing helps build these bonds quite like jumping from a height of 1,500 feet side by side with a newfound friend. That's just what these American and Estonian troops got the chance to do. Staff Sergeant Tristan McIntyre explains.
These U.S. soldiers are preparing for a rare opportunity, a chance to jump out of a UH-60 helicopter.
Sound off for equipment check.
What makes this opportunity unusual is that it is happening over a country that used to be part of the Soviet Empire. Members of the 173rd Airborne Brigade had the chance to train with the Estonian Defense League, learning from one another and developing a relationship that will strengthen their capabilities of working as a team.
I believe that if you have done something together, then you know the procedure, and one day if you really need to, do that in real life situation, then you can do it much better, and maybe you can gain some friends as well.
With parachutes strapped to their backs and sitting side by side, the team breaks down communication barriers to make their jump over the landing zone.
I think anytime you work with anyone that, where there's a language barrier, where not everyone's on this, it helps you find different ways to communicate, and learning how everyone else's systems work and how they do things, it's just a different look at something, and that never hurt.
Overcoming all the barriers during this joint training ensured that everyone made it to the ground safely. Staff Sergeant Tristan McIntyre, AFN News.
This is the first time that the Estonians had the opportunity to jump with American parachutes, definitely building a lot of trust when you put your life in someone else's hands. Navy medics also train for critical situations in an effort to improve response times. Here's how hospital personnel at NSA Naples are preparing for the unexpected. It was all hands on deck as sailors assigned to NSA Naples Hospital conducted emergency response training, which prepared them to react to a chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, or high-yield explosive incident.
Today we did decon training. We pretty much got to set up and go through the experience as if there was a chemical or biological attack.
Trainers educated Navy medical first receivers on life-saving skills required to triage, initiate treatment, and decon victims.
We're trying to prepare the students for any type of terrorist response, any type of industrial type accident, seabirding type of incident that they may have to respond to. The facility is well trained to be able to receive patients and decon them and save lives.
The corpsmen stationed at NSA Naval Hospital are now better prepared to respond to CBRNE and hazmat incidents. As the Navy stays mission ready through emergency response training, the Air Force continues to break records while striving for excellence. Senior Airman Amanda Sampson takes us to the flight line to learn how these airmen are setting new records using the hot pit refueling process.
The Liberty Wing is always on the go, whether it's a deployment, training exercise, or real-world mission. Jets need to be fueled and ready at a moment's notice, making hot pit refueling an important part of mission success.
Hot pit refueling process is when we fill our aircraft or the base's aircraft with fuel while the aircraft is still running. When we do it this way, it's faster and we are able to get our aircraft back in the air quicker.
In just 3 days, these airmen refueled 81 aircraft and set a new record at Lakenheath.
Depending on which squadron we're filling, usually it's only about 8. We only catch 1 squadron a day, but this week we're catching 2 squadrons a day, twice a day.
Fuels airmen provide oversight during the refueling process.
It's like a football game. I'm the coach. I got my quarterbacks operating the pits, and I'm just making sure everything is squared away and taken care of.
Whether it's 10 jets, 20, or more, these airmen help ensure the Liberty Wing is fueled for success and remains forward, ready now. Reporting from RAF Lakenheath, I'm Senior Airman Amanda Sampson.
Giving blood might be one of the most important things that you choose to do. Did you know that each pint donated can save up to 3 lives? As the Red Cross continues to battle with low turnout, Army Staff Sergeant Matthew Clenny introduces us to one woman with a plan to reverse this trend.
When we get a walk-in, they'll come in and you ask if they have an appointment.
Ashley's on a mission. She's the blood drive coordinator with the Wiesbaden Red Cross, and her job is to get the community out to give blood. With donor apathy and lagging numbers, it won't be easy. However, Ashley's got an idea.
We were looking for something that was a little bit more eye-catching, a little bit more fun, and so we decided to do an 80s theme with 80s movies playing and 80s dress, just to make it a little bit more interesting.
When donors walked into the Dark Base Theater, they were greeted by volunteers in 80s garb and watched familiar movies on the screen while they waited. Ashley's taken every care to ensure the donation process is as stress-free as possible. The blood leaves here to go into the Armed Services Blood Program, a blood bank serving the entire military community. So while the blood given today will save countless lives, the Wiesbaden Red Cross still struggles to bring people in.
A lot of times I think people either have a fear of needles and they're really, worried about trying to give, or I think that people get really busy with work and they don't want to, give up time. They say, oh, I have too much to do. I don't have the time to spare to come down.
The important question, did it work? The next day, Ashley was in her office going over the numbers.
So we got 50 pints of blood, and so that translates into 150 lives saved. So we were able to get more pints than we had at the previous 2 blood drives.
Ashley's 80s-themed blood donation day was a success. All she had to do was travel 30 years back in time to save military lives today.
Well, that's good. Well, I'm glad that you came out and donated today. We have blood drives every 2 months here.
In Wiesbaden, Germany, I'm Army Staff Sergeant Matthew Clenny.
Fit to Fight takes on new meaning as soldiers and airmen competed in the first ever 7th CSC Combatives tournament. Air Force Staff Sergeant Javon Smith takes us ringside to see who came out on top.
Fight. In the military, we train to fight. Combat skill and knowledge is critical on the battlefield. At Sembach Kaserne, the fight hits close to home as soldiers and airmen compete in the 7th CSC Combatives Tournament. These competitors aren't enemies, but comrades in arms, testing each other and themselves in a sport that keeps them ready in real-life operations.
There's a competitive side to it. They train with each other every day, so they beat up on each other, but when they come out here, it's all about supporting each other, learning from each other, just sharing knowledge.
3 different weight classes competed in the double elimination tournament. After surviving the elimination rounds, the winners moved on to compete in a championship round. The fighters were pushed to limits and dealt with challenges they didn't expect.
One thing I didn't expect was coming in at the weight I was, but fighting in the heavyweight class to where there's basically no weight limit and actually winning the 275-pound title. So that was a different experience, having to actually use all technique, not relying on my strength.
Regardless of what weight class or unit they belonged to, the combatants came together through bonds of camaraderie.
There's something that comes with trying to choke someone and them trying to choke you, and after it's done, you really don't want to hurt each other, and it builds a really strong sense of teamwork and a strong friendship that you can't really build anywhere else, I think. So.
Staff Sergeant Javon Smith, Sembach Kaserne, Germany.
We're out of time for tonight, but we'll see you again next week. Until then, you can check out our webpage at afneurope.net, or you can like us on Facebook. And be sure to subscribe to our AFN Europe YouTube page, or you can even download our mobile app to keep up to date on the latest military news happening around Europe. I'm Sergeant Tiffany Collins, wishing you a great night.